So yes, for me it's like, actually it's a little bit weird. I was tweeting about before, because every time that I have been here at the Dom, it has been for Brighton SEO. So for me it's like, oh my God, like the audience they look a little bit more formal and serious and professionals than crazy SEOs. But yes, I'm very looking forward to share with you today. I love to go out of my echo chamber because, well, I am an SEO consultant and I go to many conferences, but mostly search online marketing type of conferences where, yeah, I connect, I share a lot, I also learn a lot, which is amazing, but with other people who are like very like-minded too. So it's a little bit like the echo chamber, right? So I'm very looking forward also after my session here to be able to connect with you and to, if you have any question afterwards, I'm going to be also uploading, sharing my slides because you will see that there are a lot of resources. I really enjoy sharing in general. I just have actually published a book. So actually, if there are, I heard that there was someone from Spain. So if there are any Spanish speakers who would like to read about SEO in Spanish, I have a copy of my book and I'll be happy to give it to whoever asks for it. So just let me know. Another reason to learn Spanish, actually. So yes, so I do SEO. I am an international SEO consultant. I have my own consultancy. I provide like very specific consultancy support to many multilingual, multinational companies. A few of these have been historically education organizations or educational platforms, not necessarily organizations, but platforms too. And the reality is that search, you see here data from SimilarWeb. I took this screenshot, is very fresh. I took it yesterday when I was updating my slides for the Prezzo here. Top medium, top channel, traffic driver in the industry here, worldwide, is search. And from search, organic, I went and checked, and I didn't actually, this is so funny, I didn't actually see any actual organization in the top players list worldwide there. I went and I filtered with the organic segment there just to see the ones that were like really having the highest, the top visibility in the industry worldwide from the education sector. And then it's so funny, I saw Rincón del Vago, which is like a student's platform, exchange of notes in Spanish. And then I see other type of platforms too, Duolingo, for example, etc., etc. But I didn't actually see an organization there. So I can definitely see a gap from the main players, the ones that are really making the most out of search nowadays, and the actual organizations. And this is the key. And I understand that not necessarily, or yes, maybe I should ask, how many of you are from schools, universities, like actual organizations or providers of education services, not platforms or like the middle guy out there? Most of you, right? Okay, this is amazing because this is it. I mean, a lot of you will think that your competitors are like the traditional ones, like the schools that is providing the exact same type of programs that you are, targeting the same markets, targeting the same audience. That's not true in search. And it's a little bit more complex, I will say, but stay with me because you can see it can be highly profitable. It's the main driver of traffic, online traffic in your sector. And the reality here is that a lot of websites will try to rank and will target to rank for the type of queries that you would like to. Like, for example, queries that are not necessarily transactional, but queries that are informational and are used for students to research about best courses, for example, or let's say how to say something in a language, which are the typical type of research that a student can make before trying to learn the language. How to say like the alphabet in Spanish, how to pronounce the R letter in French or in Spanish, for example. And the websites that will be ranking here are not yours, are not the one of education organizations, the ones that will be the final providers for this type of knowledge at the end of the day, But the middle guys, the websites that talk about language, speaking languages, free online resources, etc., communities that are out there. So you should see really this, the SERPs, the search engine result pages, as the bridge for you to gain the visibility from your target market, to be shown there whenever your target market searches something relevant regarding your service, your programs, your products, whatever you want to be found with. That is the ultimate goal. And before, we could think about SEO, about being number one. I want to maximize my visibility by being always number one, and we know that can be tricky sometimes, especially with this type of results. We see like Google is becoming an AI. Google is becoming not only semantically intelligent and aware, but also is going beyond. And it was 2 days ago, I think, that I heard that the CEO of Alphabet, Google, at the end of the day, he was telling that everybody's talking about mobile first, and yes, right now, what we are executing, and for what we are executing right now is mobile first. However, they are already thinking, and they are like, oh, we are already thinking and moving from mobile first to AI first. Why? Because they are able now to understand the intent more and more of the user. They have the capacity to better identify the format, the best, more relevant format of the content to answer to a question and to provide the actual answer there directly in their search results. With the knowledge graph, for example, directly there, with the answers, snippets that you can see sometimes above of the results. A lot of people from, for example, like our companies are around the currency area, or like the translation companies, they are not necessarily that happy, or even flight platforms like flight searches platforms. They are not very happy with this type of results sometimes, because of course if they are the middle guy again, they are the middle platforms, not the actual final provider. Like, of course, Google is going to take a little bit of visibility from there, providing the results in the actual search engine directly. So this for what we need to optimize right now. Not necessarily for a number one result, ranking number one. Sometimes it will be actually impossible because we will have the Wikipedia or some like government type of website there. But to make the most out of all of the visibility opportunities, all of these functionalities, because these are, we are not working anymore with top 10 results that are links, purely links, text. No, we have multi-formats, we have apps ranking, we have multi-device, we have maps for geolocalized businesses, like for example the schools that you may have across the country or in many countries. We have images, we have videos, type of results. So what we will look to do in SEO is to make sure that your website make the most out of all of these functionalities that the search engines are able to provide you with their evolution, all of the functionalities that they have evolved with over time to make the most out of this visibility. Sometimes, and this is funny, there have been tests going on showing that, for example, if you are number one result with pure text, but you are showing in the second result your page with a snippet, with an image, with a video, with extra information, with the side links, for example, with reviews, that will increase your click-through rate. And sometimes you will have more clicks than the first results. Why? Because it connects better and provides much more information and gives much more trust about your website and your results to the user. So you see, like, there are definitely a lot of opportunities, not only, and I am telling you this because I have a few clients, especially at the beginning, like they are like obsessed, I want to be number one. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult, and this is the tricky thing with SEO, right? It's long term. It's not like the results are not achieved tomorrow, like in pay-per-click, like you bid, you create your ad, you start bidding, and you're out there. No, it's a long-term investment. But that is the thing, it's an investment on your content, on best practices, on your accessibility, on content that will drive and will connect with your audience preferences. But it should be long-term. And we will see here which are the efforts. So that is why it's important that SEO is not seen as a silo, but that SEO really is supported and it's aligned with all of the efforts that your company is doing in all of the marketing channels. This is key. I remember many years ago, I started doing SEO back in 2006, 2007. I feel very, very old right now. And I remember that at the beginning when I was consulting at an online marketing agency by then, it was so funny. I started doing the audits and recommendations, and it's true, I mean, audits and recommendations back then were a little bit much more fundamental and basic than today's. And they were sending my recommendations and audits directly to the technical team, to the IT team. It's like, why? It's true. I speak about title tags, to optimize title tags, but the title tags needs to be optimized with content. And the person who knows what is the content that should be the one created for your customers is not the technical guy, it's the marketing person. Yeah, right? So you can see it's a multidisciplinary activity that needs to work alongside and be aligned. I also have worked for many, many years in-house before becoming a consultant. And it's amazing when you are a person on a day-to-day basis in a company and you are able to see every action from a landing page that is created for an ad or a new video that is created for a TV spot or whatever, any effort that is done. Like, for example, right now, an offer for Black Friday or Mother's Day. And you are able to talk with the person in charge. Of course, it's not an SEO thing, but SEO can help to that effort, to that action, to keep visibility, to achieve visibility, to attract and capitalize link authority that it might drive at some point. So yes, it's about this, supporting each other. Because at the end of the day, and this is something very important, from a conversion perspective, across the customer journey, it's not true that someone will start searching directly for learn Spanish and Madrid and click there and buy directly and that's it. It doesn't happen that way. There's a little tool that is provided by Google, and actually when I will load the slides, I will make sure to add the URL so you can check it out. And it provides the average, the typical type of path that a user will take to convert in any type of industry mostly, and for every size of company. So you can see the first one is referral, then they click on a display ad, then they click on something social, at the end they search something much more organic and they click on the organic results, and at the end it's a direct visit. And some people think, oh, it's a direct visit that converted. They know me, I'm famous. It's not true. I mean, it's a direct visit that learn about you in many other ways, right? So this is why multi-channel attribution is important. This is why it's important to have a consistent presence and to support each other to drive this. It's about this. SEO is not about the keywords, about the links, these are KPIs that for us, the specialists, is important to track to see if the evolution of the process is going well. But for you, the decision makers, the owners, is about this. It's about the actual growth. Or this. Or this. You get the idea. So I am going to show you today, like, what for me are the two fundamentals to make sure that the content that you create, the information that you provide, is information that will likely have more chances to make the most out of search engines, functionalities, opportunities, and how search works nowadays. And the first thing is something that sadly, a lot of times is forgotten or not completely dismissed, but it's done in a very not necessarily complete way and not in a way that really drives the rest of your SEO actions and activities as it should be, which is the keyword research. That is the thing. It's like the name keyword research is an actual market research in search, because you don't only want to understand the queries and what is the search behavior of your audience, but how your competition is already targeting those and how you can capitalize and identify the gaps to provide an answer yourself and to prioritize these areas in your audits and in your efforts. So you see results first. It should be about that. So let's first understand how your audience search. And here's a little summary of all the steps. You can see it's not only about just starting to search for a few terms or your different keywords or terms for the different categories, but actually to start and see what you already have achieved. Unless you are a completely new site that you're starting from scratch, you likely have something. And of course, it's far easier for an SEO to start and to drive up a page that is right now ranking in number 30 to number 10 or number 5 or top 5 results than rank from scratch, from zero, from nothing, a page that is new, that you have just written yesterday and needs to be crawled, indexed, and it doesn't have any history online. It's completely different. So it's important to have this initial analysis of what you have achieved, and that will drive and will serve as an input. If you have done, for example, also ads in the past, if you have AdWords campaigns, also from a profitability and conversion perspective, there might be some keywords or terms which are very popular out there, but there might be not necessarily the ones that convert better, the ones that leave you more profit. So more search volume, not necessarily all the time, are necessarily the best or the ones that you really need to prioritize in your SEO process. And then of course the relevance and intent, search volume, seasonality, and competition to take into consideration, current visibility, content existence, business goals, volume, profitability. And all of this is what will drive your final results. So you start with here, with your Google Analytics and Search Console. You will go and your Google Analytics and find the top pages ranking, top pages receiving traffic, organic traffic, the ones also that are not only receiving much more traffic, organic traffic, but conversions and better conversion rates, why not? To start gathering a list. The same with Google Search Console. If you still don't have Google Search Console, do it. It's your direct way to communicate and to see what Google wants to communicate and visibility that your website has, your status with Google. Organic, of course. So you will go there because there is this search visibility report and select the pages, top pages there. So you want to see the ones that are getting more clicks, what are their current average positions. Maybe they are not so good if you haven't done an SEO process, but maybe they are good enough and you want to understand that. You want also to see which are the most links and share pages. So for example, BuzzSumo or Cognitive SEO. These are super handy because you go and you check which are the pages that have been more shared, not only from you, but from your competition. I'm pretty sure, and this is the thing, this is very funny. The pages that you will likely find here, the ones that your audience shared are not necessarily your product pages, in your case, your programs pages. The ones that you really want to rank with, your category pages. Usually, what you will find here are blog posts, community entries, actual information that is useful, that provides some value, support for the user before or after the purchase, the conversion. So this is why it is important sometimes, not only to be completely focused and mindful about optimizing your program pages or your category pages, but create content that will connect with your audience through the customer journey before and after, because these are the pages that will likely get shared, get linked, get visibility, get authority. And from these pages, you can internally link to your other pages, and this is how you are going to pass the value across your site. All of this you will gather. You will have a nice list of top pages from your site and also the ones of your competition if you want to check out how they are performing already at the beginning. And there is this little tool that I love that is called URL Profiler that connects with the Google Search Console and Google Analytics data, and it will provide you something like this with a list of URLs and all of the metrics for them and all of the keywords for them directly. And then you will do this again with your competition. And this is the way that you should do, because you're wondering, like, she talks about doing this with the competition, but you don't have the Google Analytics of your competitors, of course. However, there are tools like SEMrush here or Systrix that will provide you which are the top pages of any domain, any website. So you will go here and you would add the domain there and you will see which are the top pages, the ones giving more visibility and traffic and share of organic traffic to ES, for example, or ESL, for example. And you do the same. And then SEMrush, they allow you to compare right there. So you will say, okay, that's nice. I have seen that in my case I am ranking mostly with my online programs, but I really want to push not the online programs, but the in-person ones, because these are much more profitable for me. And it's part of my goals for next year. And then you identify that your competition is the other way around, that they are like really the best and ranking better, are ranking you for those queries. So you identify there that here in this comparison, search comparison of domain versus domain in SEMrush, and you see which keywords they are using to do that, with which page they are ranking, what is the content there that they are using to rank well, how granular it is at a product level or it's a category level. You also need to verify and identify the type of visibility that they are getting per device. Like we were talking like before about the importance of mobile, right? Like it was mentioned before, and it's critical. And mostly, thankfully nowadays, more and more tools are able to provide very granular and segmented data for mobile versus desktop versus devices in general. So for example, with Systrix here, we can identify, for example, if your competition, what's their level of specific visibility that they're getting for mobile? And much more important, the queries and the specific keywords that your users are searching on mobile. Are they the same? They are searching for the same type of things when they are on the go, when they are with their mobile device, than when they are on their desktop? Not necessarily. And you want to be able to understand that, to be able to maximize and optimize the content that you show and you promote and you prioritize from your mobile experience. The same with the functionality of search results. Remember this additional information that Google provides, images, videos, knowledge graph, etc., etc. You can identify that directly in SEMrush there. You add any domain there, in this case ef.co.uk. Very sorry, because I see that at the end of the day, it might be a little bit small for you to see from over there, but it will be nice when you can zoom, when you have the slides, and you will see exactly all of the keywords here, but for images results. So this is how these people, they are capitalizing on image search. And how you could do too. And this is a great input. Should you spend your time optimizing images or not? Let's take a look. Let's see if your competition is already doing it. You have, if they are already doing that for a few, and sometimes they are getting not necessarily the best visibility because they are doing it in not such a great way, then you know that there's still an opportunity for you to do it well and to maximize your visibility with images, for example, or with videos. This is how you identify that. This is how you can later prioritize all your efforts too. Then you can extract the terms and see how they are performing versus you, and then you can expand them, of course, and segment them too from the different programs, the different locations, areas, modalities that you may provide. This is the SEO keyword magic functionality of SEMrush and Ahrefs' new keyword explorer. They're amazing because, for example, you will provide some of the terms that you have identified that you are ranking with or that your competition are ranking with, and they will provide you like wealth of data. Like, for example, for courses here, I have like per language, business, location, everything here segmented. So if at some point this really connects with your offering, you know which are the type of terms that you will be able to Yeah, you should be targeting because this is how the users are searching. Not only the volume too. This will provide you the keyword difficulty, how difficult it is or will likely be to rank for these keywords based on the websites that are ranking for them already, the competitors there, the players. If they are highly authoritative websites that are very well optimized with a lot of links, it will be a little bit harder. So you may want to prioritize terms that are not necessarily that hard. And the different permutations, this is another one. I love these tools, the Infinite Suggest and Keyword Tool IO, because also for each term, especially main terms, there may be like a long tail of different queries, very specific queries regarding something. And here, you will have the opportunity not only to see the queries and the searches in Google, but in YouTube, in Amazon, in the App Store, because if you have videos, if you have an app, you will also like to take those into consideration, not only to optimize, but to create content from scratch that you may not have. And in this case, it has, you see, an option that is called questions, because it will tell you not the term, but the actual question that the users are making around those terms. Like, for example, in this case, I searched for learn Spanish, and the tool is telling me, like, the top questions around learn Spanish in YouTube is how to learn Spanish for beginners, how to learn Spanish quickly and fluently. How to learn Spanish in 5 minutes. That's a challenge right there, right? However, these are amazing topics. I have so many clients saying, Aleyda, we have run out of topics to write on a blog, and we have the keywords, but how we can address them without repeating ourselves or competing with our own content against itself? You need to go to this level of granularity. And of course, the search volume will be small, but remember that this is an ongoing effort and it's about the long tail. So you will likely to find here modalities online, abroad, the year. I was doing like a quick keyword research myself, and I could see like gap year 2017 already being searched. Things like that, like your program name or your service name, in this case like specific education service, plus the year. Characteristic, of course, cheap, certified, short-term. All this, and this is what is important, should connect with your personas. I can imagine that you already have your personas well established, the profile of your target audiences, the different target audiences. Because of course, this is not necessarily purely for SEO, but what you already use in your marketing efforts and actions, right? So it's important to take that into consideration. A lot of people say, should I be following this keyword? Should I be really, there's a lot of search volume there. It's like, does this really match with the type of queries that your users, your customers will end up really like searching at some point? These are part of the customer journey. These are the type of queries that they will ask like before, during, or after the purchase. Yes or no? So these are the type of characteristics and questions that the terms, the query that you will need to target will need to address. And they need to be prioritized based on this criteria here. Not only the behavior, a lot of people use the behavior like search volume or competition, seasonality, the type of intent. Of course, some will want to prioritize transactional intent versus informational one, because one is money-making, direct money-making, and the other is not. However, it's also important again, and I tell all the time this story. I had a client a couple of years ago in South Africa, and he was like a car rental company. And he wanted to target the UK market, incoming tourists going to Cape Town. And they wanted to rent a car, right? And he was like, Aleyda, you know, I know that you are going to search for all this car hire, car rental, whatever. And of course, like the most popular one will be car rental Cape Town or cheap car rental Cape Town, which is good and we want them. But you know what? Like I really, my number one priority is to rank for four-wheel, 4x4, car hire or car rental. Because these cars are the ones that are used usually for people who want to go on safari or to the country outside of the city. And they cost 4 times more than the typical card. So the profit that they made out of this was much higher, right? So think about that, your business goals, the profitability of your programs, that might be not necessarily the same. So that is something also important to take into consideration. And of course, your current situation, the status. If you already have information or content for them, it's easier to optimize what you already have than to create it from scratch. The format. You may have seen that there's like a lot of results for videos or images for something that you have in text right now. That's amazing. You just need to reformat the content that you already have. You don't need to create it from scratch. And once that you know this, is that you go and optimize your content. But you see, I didn't come because sometimes that is the big mistake. You was like, oh, I'm going to do SEO. Quick research, that's it. This is my list. Most popular keywords, whatever. Like, let's optimize the website with them. It's like, no. Well, through analysis first to understand how your audience search and how your competition is doing and how you can leverage that towards your strategy. Why? Because otherwise you will end up having this big issue. This is, believe me, I mean, I do a lot of audits. I have clients like, and this is funny, I am based in Spain, I'm based in Madrid. However, most of my clients, I have only one Spanish client. All of my clients are across here in the UK or the US or across Europe, and they are from e-commerce companies, and they suffer a lot from these issues, to property companies, to education companies, so across different type of industries. And this is the one issue that always ends up happening. This is really bad, by the way, like this one in particular. When I audit the website, I crawl the website as if I was the Google bot, the bot of Google, right? I simulate what Google sees. And besides the technical configurations, etc., there's one of the much more fundamental issues that I find every time. Content across different product pages, across different categories or subcategory pages and layers. On one hand, they overlay. On one hand, we may have like, there are a few programs that you may have that are very similar in names, or they are very similar in what they offer. So you end up doing copy-paste and showing the same content. Oops, content duplication issues. So they will end up not being, or whether taken into consideration by Google and they won't rank at all, or maybe you end up ranking for the right keyword but with the wrong page. That is awful because the conversion is not going to be good. Even if you are number one, the user will click on a page that is not, this is not the page that is really offering the program that I wanted. Very bad, that will hurt the conversion. So here, content that is duplicated, very similar among them, among the pages of the site, and then here, content that is very thin. Thin is that there's almost no text content. And yes, Google is, we will see, we will want to use structured markup, structured data to tell Google what our text is about, but they still need to understand and see the text. I mean, there should be a text there. Not a big image, not a big PDF, not a big video, but the video needs a caption and the image needs a description. And if your content is there, it should be visible. You may want to go to the cache of Google to see what they are looking, or to the Google Search Console. There is a simulation option. There is a fetch and render option, so you can see exactly what Google is seeing of your content. Because yes, Google understands scripts, JavaScripts, better and better. Sometimes though, the scripts truncates and obfuscates the content behind. So you need to be very careful how you display and how you show the content. I'm going to give you now best practices around this. But this is important. Enough content per page, unique content per page that really addresses your audience behavior and searches and queries. I am going back to the first slide here. The main players in the industry in search. are the people like this, or the businesses like this, websites like this. Why? Because they are purely online. All of their activity happen online or in their app, whatever in this case. And they have tons of this content, community-driven, field content. So for every single question that you may think that a user have when selecting your program or deciding to buy or asking for help or whatever, these people will rank. And for many languages, it's funny because do you need some help with imperatives? Interesting. I wouldn't even have that question myself, but yes, seems that someone has, and they will rank for that quite easily. So you're like really like, and you will say, I'm not a language school, no problem. There are like this, many other, remember Rincón del Vago, which is a student's information exchange platform in Spanish, the same. This exists in every language, in every country, right? So what do we do to avoid this? And to try to leverage the opportunities that we have identified in the keyword research. We follow this process. The first thing that we will do is to map the queries groups that we have identified and we have prioritized before with our content. And this is very important to avoid cannibalization and to avoid that we have different products or programs competing and with the same content or trying to provide the same information. No, this needs to be very differentiated. This is why it is important to map every group or area of your queries, of the queries that you want to target, with specific product categories or specific product pages, in your case, program pages for each one of them. And then do the same with the content format. Remember, it's not only about text. You can get visibility with videos. You can get visibility with images that will need to be optimized. True. But it's important that you identify if you already have them in their right format, you need to reformat them. And the intent. It's important that this information also, when it is written, when it's developed, you make sure that it is added in the right area and that you develop in a way that is actually going to connect with the real query, the real question that your audience had at some point, like informational queries. How did English become the world's most widely spoken language? Interesting. So you create a blog post about that. Or more transactional ones. Oh, directly, Spanish school in Alicante. Transactional query, direct. So one will be integrated in the blog or covered or targeted by the blog or your Q&A or your glossary, video section, infographic section, webinars, whatever action you're doing online for marketing, social Q&As. But the other are those main queries, transactional queries that you will really want to target, not with your blog post. And you don't want a blog post to rank for nursery school in Brighton. No. You want your program for nursery schools for nursery in Brighton to rank for those. So it's important to map this very well too. And with your targeting different countries, which I can imagine that since many of you are international, you are doing that too. It is key, please, that each piece of content here, targeting a different audience, international audience, lives in their own web structure that is not delivered by automatic type of translation services or cookies or JavaScript that will show the same content in the same URL. Why? Because Google will only see one. I will index one, I will rank one, and not the rest. So each country or language version needs to live in its own specific URL. There are pros and cons for each one of them. The ideal option for country targeting is a CTLD. .co.uk, .es, .fr, .de. However, it's also a little bit harder to rank at the beginning if you're starting from scratch with a new domain. Why? Because it doesn't have any authority, doesn't have any popularity. So if you are starting in a competitive sector, with a lot of players, already established players. You may want not to start with a CCTLD from scratch at the beginning, but to leverage your current authority and start with your GTLD, a .com. If you have a .com, you can add a /DE for Germany or /FR for France and geolocalize every subdirectory in Google Search Console for each country, and will give the signal, the right signal to Google that they are targeting to these different audiences, international audiences. But please don't try to do this with a CCTLD already, because I have seen that issue also to happen. Like, for example, if you're a British company and you have a .co.uk CCTLD, don't try to add that /ES and geolocate that ES subdirectory to Spain, because your domain is already geolocated to Britain with the .co.uk or the edu.uk. I don't care. The important here is like the country. So that is key too. So you will have here the pros and cons. There are always pros and cons. The con of having subdirectories is that if at some point something goes bad with one of your other versions in another market that you might not control necessarily, will likely penalize the whole site. Because you're consolidating everything, the authority, for good and for bad too. If something goes good, it's great. You have tons of links, tons of rankings, like tons of references and visits, and everything is on one domain. But if it goes bad, yeah, it will likely go bad for everything there. And then from every area of the page needs to be aligned also for that. It's something that is so common. The URL needs to be translated, needs to be in the right language, using the right keywords, the titles, the meta descriptions, the heading, the content, images, videos, everything. And at a much more granular aspect, the titles, for example, the meta descriptions, they have different character limits, mobile and desktop. Make the most out of them. Crawlers, usually SEO crawlers, like even Screaming Frog, that is actually free for the first 1,000 pages that you crawl. It will show you a visualization of this, of the titles and the meta description, the metas. So when you are crawling your website and analyzing your website, you will actually be able to see this information there before optimizing it or changing it and see if like it is truncated or not, it is too long, too short. But these titles, meta description, all this information, they need to be unique, specific, relevant for each specific page, featuring the keyword, featuring the term that each one of them want to target. They cannot be duplicated. I know that you have many internal pages, but you can personalize, establish rules and patterns so they can be generated with the right category name or the right program name here. And I love this. Because there have been many tests lately, of course, to differentiate. Everybody's already like, in competitive sectors, already optimizing for the keywords and adding the keyword at the beginning, etc. How you can differentiate yourself from your competition? Well, adding your unique selling proposition. Not only in the meta description, where you usually added a call to action, which was very common, for specific information on the title. Like, for example, here, in the ads, they do that a lot, and they increase conversions very well. So you can apply this also to organic pages. So accelerated 15-month BSN, not wait list, apply today. So the keyword here is likely BSN or accelerated BSN or something like that, but you add there the unique selling proposition. Only 15 months, no wait list, apply today. So it is much more visible to the user. And the people from CH, Ross Hodgins, he did a lot of tests with many of this across many industries, and he consistently saw an increase on click-through rate from only having the keyword, plus having the keyword and balance it out with additional specific information that will connect with that type of user, with this particular USP that you're providing with that page. I do that, for example, with my clients with the numbers of products that they have, if that is something attractive, or how inexpensive, non-expensive they may be, or that the quality is better, or that is more short, more long, whatever, the specific unique selling proposition that you're providing there. And the images. Take a look. Chinese language, and we are shown images here. And where do these images come from? Well, from an image that is included on a page, but of course the image you will see there, like the alt description is highly optimized. It includes the right terms, the right keywords of Chinese languages. It's surrounded by text. The file name is also relevant. So we have all of these areas, text-related areas that we can optimize for an image. So the image can rank well and receive this additional visibility. The same with videos. The title of the video, the caption, create a caption for it. That is very, very common, that you only have a video and there's no description. You don't know nothing about a video. And here is something very important. You will see that, and that is true, it's something for which Google continuously receives critical feedback and negative feedback, that they are like incentivizing the visibility of their own platforms, in this case YouTube for videos, for example. If these are informational videos and non-transactional videos, not videos that you want to directly sell with, but a video that should fulfill a need, a research, like for example here, Spanish alphabet and pronunciation practice, piggyback and leverage YouTube, because of course Google provides extra visibility to their own platform. Okay, what are you going to do with that? Well, maximize their use. Try to use it for those situations where it really makes sense, because you don't want to buy in YouTube really. You want just to connect and create awareness with your final audience in that case. And then when you optimize, the information is about providing also additional input to Google about their meaning. And you can do that with structure markup, which are like what makes to Google to show this type of results in the knowledge graph. There are many ways to implement structure markup. JSON LD, microdata, there is the specification here that you can see. However, it can be very, very easy to do, if it is too technical, with Google Tag Manager. The Google Tag Manager that you use to add Google Analytics code on your site, you can also use that to add the structure markup to your pages. So you maximize and get extra visibility, from reviews to breadcrumbs to any information that Google can use to expand and maximize your results, and will likely also increase your click-through rate and provide extra meaning to them. And of course, all this should be also mobile friendly. And remember the queries that we identify only for mobile, you need to prioritize the content to look good in those cases for them. Google is going mobile first. Google is doing a lot of efforts regarding accelerated mobile pages, which are pages that they actually host and delivers, and they are used as CDNs for these pages, because they have seen that there were like very, very important speed issues around mobile websites in general, a really bad experience that they wanted to provide an answer to that. So whatever option that you choose to do is like super important because of this. More than half of the queries, the searches nowadays are coming from mobile in general. And the issues regarding mobile shopping and conversion online, they are very fundamental. It's like, oh, the text is too small, very fundamental usability issues. The content is not there because it's hidden, not shown on mobile, etc., etc. That is why it's so important to think mobile first and validate, for example, the tools that already Google provides, or the report that it provides in the Google Search Console, and do a whole audit for that. We have a very little time, so of course I couldn't expand more of that, but you can take a look at this presentation, these slides that I did a few months ago, about how to actually implement a mobile audit to identify which is the gap that you have on your site, and how to try to close this, the issues, and maximize your visibility on mobile. And you will say, okay, Aleyda, this is too much, that's it. And it's only for content even, not even technical, it's like too much information. So what I will say is that you should follow this flow chart here, that you will be able to zoom out afterwards. But the text here will say, okay, do you need to publish something, really? Do you need to index something? I understand that it's a lot of effort to create something. Unique information is a lot of effort. Copywriters, content writers, it's a lot of effort in marketing in general. follow this flowchart because the flowchart will say, what is the cost of creating that content? I don't know, 10 pounds, 20 pounds per article or per page? What are the amount of searches that you will get in a year from this page? That when this page gets published and indexed and ranked. This value here. Does it compensate? Yes or no? If it does compensate, then move ahead and prioritize that content. If it doesn't, then there will be others that will be much more profitable than this one. And you can prioritize like this, so your efforts really, 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 like, really pay off. That is not just following a checklist without any criteria, which is what kills sometimes SEO too. All of this should drive your efforts. I was speaking and focusing on content, but technical, your competition, of course, what they are doing on a day-to-day basis, all of this will drive and reprioritize your efforts on a day-to-day basis. I also did a presentation about this in Brighton SEO. If you want to go much more into the actionable, step-by-step, how to implement and prioritize your efforts in an SEO implementation, you can take a look at the criteria. But remember, it's about this. It's about the ROI, it's about the profit, and how you can connect and maximize your visibility for those queries that your audience is searching for and that really matters towards your business. Thank you.